Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Rachel and I am knitting. Not right now, but most of the time. Today is November 28th, right? Yes, today's Tuesday, November 28th, which is only a few days away from Friday, December 1st. And you may be thinking, so what? Who cares? What's the big deal? Why are you telling us this, Rachel? Let me answer that question. Friday, December 1st is day one of Advent calendar season. So if you're not familiar with Advent calendars, basically they are a countdown to December 25th. You open up a little treat every day of December. That's typically how Advent calendars work. But there are a few different ones. There are Hanukkah countdowns. There are just, winter solstice countdowns, things like that. But typically if you're getting an Advent, that is a 25 or 24 day, 25 or 24 day like treat box that you get to open every day. They have ones of chocolates from Trader Joe's. They have whiskey ones. They have jam ones. There's all sorts of countdown calendars out there if that is something that you're interested in. By the time this video goes up, it will probably not be Advent season anymore. But basically, I guess I should tell you what this video is supposed to be. I want to walk you through my Advent project from start to finish. I have the Advent here that I'm going to be unboxing this year. This is the only Advent that I have this year. This was gifted to me from Jess of Skein and the Stitch. I am a newly minted brand ambassador for Jess, and I'm so happy to be so. And I was very excited and grateful to receive this Advent calendar. It has some beautiful original artwork that Jess commissioned. The back of the box has all of the colorways listed. It has a little note from Jess about her vision for this Advent and the experience her customers will have as they open it. It just seems really immersive already, and I haven't even opened any of the days. Also, in Jess's Discord, we're going to be doing a Hobbit read-along. So my husband DJ is going to read with us, and I'm going to reread The Hobbit. He'll be reading for the first time. I'll be rereading it, I think, for the first time since elementary school. I think that's right. So I'm very much looking forward to the Hobbit read-along. But in addition to that, I have this yarn Advent. So for this particular Advent, it's not chocolate, it's not jams. In each of these boxes is a mini skein of yarn. So each skein is, I believe, 20 grams and I think 92 yards, I want to say. This is, I know, on her plush sock base, which is a base that I'm currently using for a sweater project, and I'm really enjoying it. So all that to say, I'm very, very excited about opening this Advent. Now, I've mentioned to you that this whole video is walking you through my Advent project. So you may be thinking, if it's November 28th, why is the video starting now instead of December 1st? Because I want to tell you stuff, and I want to walk you through the first stages, which I'll be doing today. So basically, I've had Advents before, and I ended up not really putting the mini skeins to good use. In fact, I think I ended up destashing many of the mini skeins I got in an Advent. And the reason for that was because I was overwhelmed by the options. There are a lot of patterns out there that are meant to showcase mini skeins or meant to showcase Advents. However, many of them are shawls, and I have realized in the last few years that I do enjoy a good shawl, but I don't need a ton of them in my wardrobe. They just don't get enough use. So I knew that I wanted to make hopefully a garment with this Hobbit Advent, but being a plus size maker, the yardage might not accommodate my body size. So I was kind of at a loss. I put a question box up on my Instagram stories and I asked for recommendations, and overwhelmingly, so many responses recommended the newly released Daft Days cardigan by Rebecca Clow of the Crayabea on Instagram. So I heard your voices loud and clear over on Instagram. I've purchased the Daft Days cardigan, and that's what I'll be using these Advent mini skeins for. So the construction of the Daft Days cardigan is, it's a DK weight pattern, and basically you use a main color and then you use mini skeins, fingering weight mini skeins held double to make stripes along the cardigan. So that's what I'll be doing. Now, I was trying to decide on what my main color would be. I wasn't sure that I really had anything already in my yarn collection that I could use, so I was outsourcing. I went to Webs or yarn.com and I was looking at Cascade 220. I was thinking like a creamy color, neutral color would be good to showcase all of the mini skein colors. And coincidentally, because it was Thanksgiving weekend, yarn.com was having a great sale. So I was really considering getting a sweater quantity of Cascade 220 in a neutral cream color to be my main color. But then I was thinking, like, you know, it's literally Small Business Saturday. Like, wouldn't it be better if I reached out to a small business and supported them with this purchase? So I messaged Brandy of Long Dog Yarn and I asked her if she had any DK weight neutrals. And it just so happens that she had the exact right number of skeins I needed in her Gandalf colorway. She had some whoopsies on her website, which are essentially skeins that didn't necessarily meet the quality standards Brandy has for her full price skeins, so they're discounted. And she said, you know, there's some blue speckling, but not much. You can't really tell. And I was like, this is perfect, because Gandalf as the main color for a Hobbit themed Advent, perfect. That's meant to be. So I purchased those skeins from Brandy, and those are currently en route to me, and they should get here on Thursday, which means I'll be able to cast on the ribbing and whatever I need to get the main color going on Thursday night, hopefully, and then start with the first mini skein of the Advent on Friday. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to make sure that I had a pattern ready to go because I want to work through basically each mini skein on that day, meaning I want to work through December 1st's mini skein on December 1st and be done with it. Move on to December 2nd, work through that mini skein. I do not want these to languish in my stash. I want them to be worked up, and I want to enjoy the process, and I just want to have fun with it. So I've just decided to go nuts, go breakneck speed at this. I'm not going to wait for the perfect pattern, for the perfect color palette. I have an idea of the color palette, but I don't really know for sure. So I'm just doing it. I'm just going for it. So with that said, why am I starting this video on Tuesday, November 28th? Because before those Gandalf skeins arrive at my home, I need to swatch. So that's what I'm going to do. And it just so happens that I'm prepared. I have a bunch of Merino DK, Brandy's DK weight base from her Princess Bride collection. Really beautiful colors. So I'm going to take one of these, and I'm going to take some other Brandy yarn. This is her former 4-ply bounce sock base, since discontinued, but I believe that's the same as, I think that's the same as the base the Advent is on. I have to double check, but basically, even if it's not, that's just what I'm going to do to swatch, okay? And that means between today when I swatch and Thursday when I can cast on, Thursday or Friday, I will know my gauge, I'll know what size to make, and I'll be good to go. So I don't have to waste any time and lose that breakneck speed mentality. So that's what I'll be doing today. Without further ado, let's swatch. All right, this footage is from the next day, Wednesday, November 29th. I started my second of 3 swatches that morning, and I finished this one that I'm working on here during my lunch break on Wednesday. So basically, the reason I swatched 3 times is because none of my swatches were meeting gauge. The first swatch I made, which is before this one I'm working on here, I made it with some blue-green yarn, and I had 25 stitches over 4 inches, and it's supposed to be 21 stitches. So that was a lot more stitches per inch than I needed. So the pink-purple swatch, I went up a few needle sizes. I actually realized for this swatch, I was finally using the needles that are actually called for in the pattern. My first swatch, I was using smaller needles. So for this pink swatch, I'm using US size 3 for the ribbing and US size 5 for the main body, but that still didn't meet gauge, so I later would swatch again, making a total of 3 swatches, and I used US size 5 for the ribbing and US size 7 for the main body. This is a bigger needle size than is actually called for in the pattern, which is not typical for my knitting. Usually I have to size down 2 or sometimes more needle sizes to get gauge. So I'm very interested that I'm actually having to go up a needle size. I'm really interested in how Rebecca makes her stitches, because even though with my third swatch I met stitch gauge, I'm still really off with row gauge, but I'm just going to call it good and do some knitting math. But yeah, enjoy the swatching process. Okay, hey everybody, so I now have swatched 3 times. I haven't met gauge once, but I've only measured them before blocking, so I'm going to go ahead and give these a wet block before making another gauge swatch. So let's block these 3 swatches. I'm pretty sure that the long dog yarn was just delivered and is at the door. So we can get started. I was right. It was at the door. Here we have 6 beautiful skeins of long dog yarn. So as I said earlier in this video, these are Gandalf Whoopsies, which means they do not pass quality control. But as I'm looking at them, I see a few blue speckles, but this is like no big deal whatsoever. It's going to be perfect for the Advent knitting season, I think. So I'm going to wind 1 skein up and get going, because based on the gauge of my third swatch, I know that I'm going to make a size 6. Like I mentioned to you already, using a size 5 needle for the ribbing and a size 7 needle for the main body helps me hit stitch gauge exactly. Not quite row gauge, but I'm just going to go with it and do some knitting math when I get to the armhole shaping and the decrease sections, because my row gauge will not be the same as what's called for in the pattern. But all that to say, I know what size I'm making, I know what needles I'm using, and all I need to do is knit the ribbing tonight, and then tomorrow I can officially start with the first mini. All right, so we're at the end of the day on Thursday, November 30th. I have gotten 3 rows of ribbing done, but I'm tired and I need to go to bed. So I will be working on the ribbing tomorrow, and I'm excited for tomorrow to open up the first box of the Advent. So yeah, that's where I'll leave it here for the first installment of the Advent knitting blog. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell to be notified of my next upload. Last but not least, head over to Instagram and follow me at Rachel is Knitting if you don't already. Okay, see you next time. Bye.